ready? Who's ready to go? All right, so welcome to another episode of Brand Experience Live. This is the podcast where we dive into the individuals and brands that are delivering unrivaled brand experiences for their prospects, their buyers, their candidates, and their employees. So, the things that we talk about are how to drive better brand experiences and awareness for your personal and professional brands. Professional means company, just in case. If you're joining me for the first time, my name is Ashley Pereira. I am the host of Brand Experience Live. I'm so excited to get started with this episode today. Today, we're going to go over my top 5 ways to amplify your personal brand in order to drive awareness and sales. We all want money, right? I feel like most of the things that we talk about on LinkedIn, there's a lot of really great advice around personal brand. This is something that I have been coaching for almost 12 years now. I've seen the market change in terms of who is interested in developing a personal brand. But the one thing that hasn't changed is the fact that you need to be authentic and you need a plan. There is so much advice and information out there about, you need to create this type of content and here's a template. And those are all really great. But if you don't have solid foundation and directions for where you're going and the destination you're trying to get to, all of that fluff and information that's being given to you, it feels like fluff, right? If you do not know exactly how to apply it, why, to whom, and what the end result is going to be. Most of the time, the end result that we're looking for is money, right? So whether you are a founder, you are working full-time for someone else, maybe you're trying to sell a product or a service through that. Maybe you are trying to get more media opportunities. Maybe you're even looking for a new job. Maybe you're a recruiter trying to attract more candidates or potential clients. It doesn't matter what you are using your personal brand for. The end result is always going to be money. And in order to get money, you have to clarify and showcase your expertise in whatever it is that you're trying to do. So, who's ready to go? By the way, wherever you're joining from today, please drop a comment. Tell me where you're at. Hi, Nathan. So glad to see you. I love to get into the chats. It's like one of my favorite things. If you don't know me, you're going to get to know me today, and you're going to understand that I am a very personal person. I truly believe in showing your personality, getting to know people, because people buy from people. People hire people. Yes, your skills 100% are a huge part of why someone hires you or buys your products or services. But if they don't like you, they're not going to stick around a long time. I mean, raise your hand now, right? If you have ever left a brand, you stopped purchasing a product, maybe you removed someone from your life, whether it's an employer or a friend or even family, regardless of who you're removing, tell me if you have removed someone ever because of the fact that you found out who they were and it did not align with you, regardless of how great all these other things seem to be in the beginning. It is so important that we are ourselves through and through. And so today we're going to go through the top 5 ways to amplify your personal brand in order to drive visibility and revenue for yourself or your business, right? A lot of the things that we're going to talk about today are, I'm going to keep in mind the fact that you might be a solopreneur, you're an entrepreneur, maybe you own a small business, you have employees, or maybe you're trying to sell a product or a service, okay? I'm going to share my screen. This is the first time that I'm doing this. So bear with me. I am working on a new format because I've been listening. I've had 12,000 uh, downloads of my podcast in the last, I think, 11 months. And I've gotten a lot of feedback. And one of the things that I really want to make sure that I continue to drive in on is giving you value add that you can apply today. And the way that I'm going to do that going forward on these episodes that I do by myself is I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to walk you through one or two things, like super quick, easy things that you can do today on your own for free. These are things that I teach in my courses and on in one-on-one consults, and even when I'm working for an organization, but I'm going to walk you through them. So if you're listening to this for the first time on audio, make sure that you go back to LinkedIn or YouTube, even check out my social media pages for the clips so that you can visibly see what we're doing, where to go, and how to do it. All right, let's go. Okay, so let's make sure I am presenting the right way. Okay, so if you can see my screen, it says BXLE24. Please say yes, because that'll help me so much. I am not the most technically savvy person, and this is why this stuff works, guys. Okay, the stuff that I'm going to go over works. I am huge on brand. I am a brand strategist. I'm a marketing strategist. I've been head of brand and marketing for several organizations. I've worked with over 250 individuals and organizations over the last 11, 12 years. The things that I do to drive results are not because I'm technically savvy. It's because I know who to ask to do it. So now that I'm doing it for myself for the first time, I have to find things that are easy that work for me. So I'm going to share those things that work for me too. All right. So today, the 5 things that we're going to go through very quickly: the importance of creating your power statement, defining your simple strategy, profile audit and optimization, AI and ChatGPT content made simple. This is so important. I have a lot of thoughts on ChatGPT. I'll probably do another episode just on this, but today I'll give you one really powerful prompt to help you with everything else. And then the importance of building your lead magnet. So, creating your power statement. Anyone that has gone to a personal brand professional or reads content on LinkedIn as far as finding your niche, right? This is a statement that we hear a lot, right? Find your niche, or find your ICP. If you are in business, that's a term we hear a lot too. Your client profile, your avatar. It is so important to understand who it is that you are targeting. But what's more important is to showcase very briefly, very straight to the point, who you are, the results that you have gotten, the transformation that you can take your ICP, your client avatar, your niche through, and how you're going to do it. So I am going to show you just a brief overview page from my career brand workshop that I do with Lindsay Dowd. It's called Sell Me Your Story. This walks through, right, career brand and how to do that. Let's see if I can fix this again. Y'all bear with me. Thank you so much for your kindness. So I'm just going to go through power statement really quick. This statement is one of the most powerful things that you can create for your brand. So if we're talking LinkedIn, right? We're on LinkedIn right now. Some of you are watching on YouTube, but if we're on LinkedIn, your headline is one of the most important parts of your LinkedIn profile. The reason why is because it gives a brief overview to a complete stranger, whether it's a potential employer or a client, or even someone who wants to have you on their podcast or media. It tells them exactly what you do, who you are, why you do it, and how. Okay. So the power statement is a really simple formula to make sure that you are on target with helping others understand who you are before they ever meet you. All right. And that formula is I help who with this action so they can achieve whatever transformation with X method that I am good at. Okay? If you're watching right now, take a screenshot of this. It is so important to make sure to follow this. And the reason why is because you're walking someone through a very brief story of who you are, how great you are. Sometimes this could be also very uncomfortable, right? Talking about yourself, bragging about yourself. But listen, these are facts. So think of your achievements in quantifiable. So if you're a salesperson, for example, then you want to add, and I'll show you an example on the next page, but you want to make sure that you add the money that you help save people through your solution, or how much revenue and sales that you've driven for the organizations that you've worked with, or maybe the ROI percentage or the percentage of conversion, right? Anything that has a number is so important. This shows someone that you are who you say you are based on facts and results and achievements. An example of this, and I'll show you. I am a healthcare executive, sales leader with 20 years experience. I'm looking at the long right now. With 20 years experience driving a total of $127 million revenue increase through my proven 4-step strategy for sales team. Can we talk about clear? Right? If I saw this in someone's headline, I would know exactly whether or not I wanted to connect with them, I would want to reach out to them or get to know them. It tells me exactly who they are, how much experience they have, what niche they're in, their results, $127 million in revenue increase, right, for the organizations that they've worked with. And the way that they've done it is through a proven 4-step strategy for their sales teams. So they've gone over the last 20 years, developed something that's niche for them. This is their headline. This tells me so much about this person that if I went to their resume, or I went to their content on their LinkedIn profile, or I dug in a little bit deeper into their about, or maybe onto their website, everything should be revolved around this statement, this power statement. Now, there's 3 levels of it, okay? There's a long, a mid, and a mini. The reason why is because depending on what type of conversation that you're having, who you're talking to, or even what platform you're on, right? The example that I gave earlier is for LinkedIn. But if we're on Instagram, you need something shorter. If you're on TikTok, you definitely need something shorter. If it's on a resume, you might want to use the long one in your resume, like in your summary statement or on your cover letter. It just depends on where you're at in conversation and who you're talking to. So you can break it down a little bit more and get a little bit more simple, saying executive sales leader helping exhausted and scrappy sales teams increase profit by up to 147%. So we're digging in a little bit deeper into the quantifiables here and into the niche, who our audience is. Who is our audience? Our audience is exhausted and scrappy sales teams. So this is just a really simple way to get specific with our potential audience, okay? I know I'm moving fast, but there's some really great stuff that I want to talk about. So creating our power statement is the first step to really, truly getting our name out there and communicating. But we need to have some type of strategy in the first place and understand our market. This is where, for me, ChatGPT is a really strong tool. I, again, am not good with technology. I am honestly like very awful as far as ChatGPT is concerned. It is something that I fought for so long. I am a very authentic person when it comes to, I believe in sharing content that truly speaks to who you are, why, your values, your emotions, and you're able to connect with your audience a lot easier that way. So I was so against ChatGPT at first because I was just uneducated, if we're being honest. I was uneducated in the true value and possibilities of it. The way that I use ChatGPT is for ideation and productivity. It does give me some really powerful content ideas, and I have worked with it a lot in order to get mine where I need it to be. But I'm going to give you a really powerful ChatGPT prompt today as far as it's concerned to your personal brand and driving visibility and revenue. So if you go to ChatGPT, and I've actually saved one here. I just did one the other day for my skincare line because I am rebranding a couple things a little bit. I just put almost all of my products on 60% off because I'm getting rid of them so that I can focus more on my staple collection, which is the Basic Babe collection. It's also a part of my self-care packs for survivors program. So in order to do that, I need to make sure that I'm really niching down on my audience, who, why, what they're feeling, what I'm trying to, the results that I'm trying to get through this process. So I had to train ChatGPT to do this. So the first thing, and I am happy, by the way, when we're done, if you want to send me a DM that says ChatGPT, I will send you this prompt. The first thing that I do is I stroke ChatGPT's ego a little bit. Okay, so the thing that I put in here, good afternoon, you are the best brand and content expert in the world, and I hired you to ensure I am properly reaching my target audience on LinkedIn and Instagram. I am going to give you some information about my brand and tell you more, but I need you to ask me important questions about my audience to get a better understanding of my niche, goals, and business before we get started on our work. Okay. And what I like to do, I like to add that prompt, and then I like to give just a brief overview along with that of who I am and why. So what I just inserted in here on top of that prompt was just a little backstory on the skincare line and why I started it, the things that I went through, why I chose to focus on ultra sensitive skin, just like a little bit of idea of how I think and also how I communicate, the words that I like to use, what my tone is. And then at the end, I reminded it, okay, now I need you to please ask deeper questions about my target audience and business before coming up with content. And when I put that in, it should give me a prompt back asking me certain demographic information. Right. And that's exactly what it's doing. So it's asking me right now a little bit further information. And this is where a lot of people really miss the mark on developing their personal or company brands. Big brands do this because they can afford a brand strategist, right? Or a marketing agency that implements brand, like proper brand strategy and competitive analysis into their business. But for most of us, right, small business owners, solopreneur, maybe you're an individual, we are bootstrapped, right? I know I don't have just like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars sitting around to be able to hire a brand strategist, even though I am one, right? Like I wouldn't do that, but it's a bad example. But we don't have money just laying around to be able to hire someone. So ChatGPT is really great for helping our ideation and helping us to organize our thoughts and our communication and get us in the right place as far as really truly identifying our target audience, who they are, how they think, and then later on getting some other stuff out of ChatGPT to help with our content and reaching who we want to. So it gave me this like really thorough list of like demographics, psychographics, consumer behavior, that sort of thing. So I went through this before. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just copy paste in the answers that I had for all of these questions. And something that I always do at the end of my prompts as well. So if I'm just having a conversation with ChatGPT, I treat it like it's a friend or like an agency that I hired or one of my employees on my team. So I communicate it with it like it's a person. So I always make sure to say like, hey, let me know what I missed, right? So I'm going to put in this information, and the information I put in, right? I put information about like who my target audience is. I broke everything down a little bit more for them, just as much information as I can. This is really important for any type of personal or company brand. Your foundation sets the precedence for the rest of your experiences within your company or your opportunities. If you do not set a solid foundation and take the time now, you're going to have to go back later and go through so many headaches of really like dissecting so much, and it's a mess. The brands that I usually work with, they're considered quote unquote messy. Okay. I love it. First of all, I love going into brands that have been around for 5, 10, 20 years that never did this solid foundational work for their brand, and going in and looking at the data that they have, identifying patterns, and then going back in and like really digging into proper brand strategy. So I add in, right, the products that I'm going to be offering, the descriptions of them. So I just pulled these from my website, right? So if you are in sales or you have a website, or there's any type of information that you give out to people, this is the place where you want to put it in, because you're training ChatGPT right now to communicate with you and understand how you talk, the types of information you give, the tone that you give in that information. And so it understands the tone of your brand and your point of view and your voice. Okay. So there's other information about, right, brand identity, the colors, like why, what type of engagement that I do currently, what I want to do, and what my goals are. I think that the second most important place of understanding, right, creating this foundation is not only starting with this solid foundation of your brand strategy, but understanding where you're going. Okay. If you do not have a solid goal in mind of what you are trying to achieve, then your like work is just going to keep going round and around and around. Okay. So if you don't know where you're going, it is so hard to get directions there. So just be very clear. So for me, right, one of the questions it said was, what is the primary goal of your Instagram captions? My answer was to inform, inspire, to call to action, and a mix. Okay. Because I want to attract different kinds of personalities within my niche. And then what it did was it gave me more insights and information. So it talks back to me, says, hey, here's a summary of what I think I understood about you, right? So my brand identity for my skincare line. The use of neon pink is not just a color choice, it carries emotional significance. Yes, absolutely. Like 1000%. That's exactly why I chose hot pink for my brand color. And it just communicated that out loud. And this is something that I can straight up pull content out of. Okay. So this right now is not only developing the foundation of who I am, who my target audience is, but also the ways that I'm able to get in touch and reach with them, giving me a little bit more information about the types of things, right? Content it automatically tells me content suggestions for my skincare line. And different things. And like, there's some on here, like founder story. This is something that I added to my website recently because it's what I heard and it's made a significant impact. So that's just something for ChatGPT. And I'm going to show you the way that I use it. I'm going to stop sharing this screen. And if you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the chat. If I don't catch them right now, I'm going to go back later after the episode and go through them. You can send me a DM as well. But after I get this information for my content made simple, right, now I understand who my niche is, who I'm talking to, how I'm going to communicate with them. I've created my power statement based on facts and my accomplishments. And now I need to make sure that not only do I go through the information that ChatGPT gave me, but really defining my strategy of like, all right, based on the information that I have talked to ChatGPT about my audience, where is the best platform for me to be? We're going to pretend right now that it is LinkedIn. Okay, so LinkedIn is the best platform for me to be on. I'm going to take the suggestions that ChatGPT gave me, and I'm going to go through and make sure that this next step, which is auditing and optimizing my profile, is on point. Now, let me open up my LinkedIn for you and share my screen. And this is an exercise. Auditing my LinkedIn profile is something that I do on a regular basis. I do it at least once a month because I like to listen in on conversations from the individuals that I'm speaking with and make sure that I'm still on point with the information that I'm trying to share. All right, so this is my LinkedIn profile. Actually, I'm going to open it up, and it's showing me live right now, which is super awkward. But I'm going to go through top to bottom and make sure everything is filled out. Okay. So I have my name, I have my power statement, right? So this is what I wrote for my power statement right now. If you are creating any kind of content, just word of advice, go to your profile and here under resources, make sure that creator mode is on. So under resources, you can go to show your resources, turn on creator mode. And what that does is it gives you this opportunity to add these talks about hashtags to your profile of the things that anyone who connects with you can probably make sure that they're going to hear about those topics from you. It also helps for search, right? Basic SEO rules of relevancy, recency, and just making sure the keywords are on search. So I also use these hashtags in pretty much every post that I do, as well in the actual content, as well as in my hashtags area. Once you also turn on creator mode, there's this opportunity for you to add a link. I have a link to my email list as I'm getting ready to rebrand and relaunch both my businesses after dissecting them and tearing them apart all year. There's another section for contact information. By the way, guys, my birthday is on January 5th. So go ahead and put that in your calendar. But fill out your contact information, right? Especially if you are a founder, a solopreneur, CEO, and you're trying to drive more information about yourself, and right, backlink is also really important. LinkedIn has really high brand authority. We can get into this on another conversation, but just trust me. If you have a website, make sure your website is in here because LinkedIn's brand authority and relevancy is so high as far as SEO is concerned that you want that. It's just going to help you. But yeah, put your contact information in there and go through your profile. So, right, mine, I always have open to work 100% of the time, 100% of the time, whether I have a business, whether I'm employed, whether I am unemployed, I don't care what it is. I 100% of the time always have open to work. And I always say I am immediately and actively applying. I open this up to every type of employment because you never know what type of opportunities are going to come after you and find you. I leave myself open to all conversations. I will never, ever, ever pass up the opportunity to work with a brand or an individual that aligns with my values and my goals. And I just strongly suggest that you do the same thing. And it'll give you the opportunity to put in a max amount of job titles that relate to you, what type of work you're open to, the location, all of that. And then the same with if you provide any services. I personally need to really focus on this page myself. This is one of those things that I haven't dug too far into for my own purposes, but I did just create this like service page as well. So if you have a business, you need to make sure to add this page to your LinkedIn profile. And that is the providing services. And then another thing, right, is just like going down and making sure that literally everything is filled out in your LinkedIn. If there is something that you have a question about or you think you missed, then click on it anyway, right? The best way to understand information is curiosity and clicking, right? When it comes to LinkedIn, just like keep clicking. So me, I have featured in order of what's most important to me, what I'm talking about, what I'm gearing up for right now. I've got the Womenpreneur Lab. It's opening next month. I'm starting with that group. I have a free branding kickstart checklist. I'm going to personally DM all of you the link to this to make sure that you got it and to make sure you don't have any other questions when we're done. I have a free savings and budget planner. I work with women and trauma survivors. My focus is empowering their like a better life for their personal, professional, financial, and mental health. So I have some financial resources. I have a link to my newsletter. And then I also have a free assessment for anyone that just they can't really pinpoint where in their career or their business that they can focus on to up level. There's a quick assessment that they can take. So I filled out all of my featured section. Those are my posts, my about section. Make sure to fill in your top skills for whatever you can be related to. And this pulls from your skills section that's down here. Okay. Other things, make sure you're constantly getting recommendations. So I go through and I make sure every couple of months, I try to every 3 to 6 months to get at least one new recommendation in my profile. So that way I am staying relevant and in top of mind as far as these are concerned. And don't forget, if you don't, you can receive them, but it's also really good to give them. It just shows your profile up on other places, like other people's profiles, guys. Interests, meh, whatever. I have had people do like connections with me saying like, oh, I see you're interested in Mel Robbins also. But I make sure to fill literally everything out in here, including like all of the media links and resources. I am an educator, right? So I want my audience to be educated because when someone chooses to work with me, I want them to be sure that they want to work with me. I don't want to give refunds. I don't want to have bad relationships. I want them to know who I am, what my tone is, the types of things that they can expect from me and why. And I want them to just be like fully sure this is the woman that I want to work with for my business, for my mental health, for my skincare, right? For whatever it is, fill it out. One more area that a lot of people usually miss, public profile and URL. When you're on your profile, click that. It'll show you a view of your public profile. Make sure that you edit your custom URL. Mine says Ashley N. Pereira. It also is the same exact handle as my Instagram so that I can tell everyone my two main platforms is just Ashley N. Pereira. Makes it really, really easy. And as far as visibility, if any of this is turned off, no one's going to find you guys. If you're trying to be visible, if you're trying to drive revenue, if you're trying to drive opportunity, if you want people to know who you are, if you want them to see your content, if you want them to buy your stuff, you need to be visible. If I can't see you, I don't know who you are. If you're not talking about what you do, no one else is going to talk about you either. Make sure all this stuff is on, okay? Literally everything is on. So someone can see exactly who I am, what I do, even if they are a stranger. And oh, this is cool. It even shows my contributions of the articles that I contribute to, so that's how I got my super handy dandy top personal brand voice badge. And this is just one more way to be visible. I could go through like a million things that you could do to be visible, and trust me, I'm going to. But the last thing that you need to do in order to make sure that you are continuing and like starting and continuing conversation with your potential target audience is you need to make sure you have a lead magnet. So go back to ChatGPT. The prompt that we did, right? We filled out a ton of really thorough, incredible information. go back to your chat GPT and find out, you know what? I don't know if you could have seen my stuff before. Find out what content it says is going to be the most relevant. And you can go back in and say, okay, based on this information, what are the top 5 lead magnets that resonate most with my audience? And create those. So for me, one of them was my branding Kickstart checklist. This is something I've been using for 12 years. I've kept it a secret. I don't know why. Like, it's just stupid that I did that. I gave it to people in private conversation. Like, why am I not just giving it to people publicly? Because it's free. there's no sense in keeping it from anyone. But this is one of my lead magnets, so that I know, okay, this type of person was attracted to me because of they're interested in their professional or personal brand. The same with the budget planner. I talk a lot about my financial journey with going through my trauma healing. I had a $300,000 revenue per year, like really successful business. After 2.5 years, I was hitting over 300K in my business. And I talk about this journey of, right, I had a really successful business. My finances were great, but I hit bottom in my mental health. So I closed my business. And after that, there was just like so many things that happened. My kid was born really early. He was in NICU. I had like $250,000 in medical debt because of that. My car was repoed. My pay was cut by 68%. I almost lost my apartment. I had to go through bankruptcy, like so many things. This savings planner, when I'm telling my story of like how I went from literal bottom and almost being homeless to saving $200,000 in my personal savings over just 5 years, on top of buying a house, opening businesses, paying for all my stuff, traveling, doing all the things with my kids. This tool saved me. And I've been using it ever since. I've been using it for 5 years, and it has just done so many things, not only for my finances, but for my confidence and my abilities to survive and thrive and come back and just really understand that like I can do anything, right? So this lead magnet is specific to a specific part of my niche. Have a really strong lead magnet. All right. I know that was a lot. And I wanted to make sure to do it in a short period of time, but you can go back, rewatch this. If you have questions, please send me a DM, please drop a comment, connect with me, sign up for my email list, because I send out these type of tips and a digest of all of my posts that I do all week, so that you have it all in one place. I'm going to get in contact with you after this episode. If you registered there, I think there was like 40 people that actually filled out the registration stuff for this episode. I will be in your DMs with your free resources, and you can ask me whatever questions that you have. I am so excited to be back on Brand Experience Live. We have the next 6 episodes planned out. And next week, we're going to be talking to Leslie Greenwood. She's the founder of Chief Evangelist Consulting. She's just an incredible human. I really thoroughly enjoy her. I think she's absolutely brilliant. She was a huge reason why Pavilion was so successful in the beginning stages, because she was overseeing the membership experience and evangelism. And she has over 20 years leadership in community, customer success, startups. She's developed a membership first approach to community building that emphasizes the significance of mission, vision, and consistently delivering value. And she just launched Wednesday Women, which I love. It's committed to celebrating executive women leaders that you should know, learn from, and be inspired by. I cannot wait to talk to her next Friday at 12:30. You guys have a great weekend in the meantime.